The first thing that popped into my mind when I got this laptop was, well, it's really beautiful. And the second thing, well, despite the form factor, it's got quite a number of ports, which is pretty impressive. Vaio is a name that I'm pretty sure that quite a number of you probably know about. Back in the day, they were kind of like a golden standard. Fast forward to today and Vaio is now their own company and competition is, well, way tougher now. But even so, their laptops today still have a trickle of that legacy and it's enough to make them quite a little bit more unique. We have the latest revision of their SX14 today, essentially the 2022 model, and it does feature quite a number of changes compared to the previous. First up, the color. It is now available in this beautiful white with a polished silver accent across the bottom of the hinge and that brushed stainless steel look on the inside. It does make for a really beautiful two-tone look and I'm liking it far more than I thought I would. The white color scheme even extends down to the keys themselves and that really just ties it all together. It's also available in other returning colors as well, such as bronze, black and silver, as well as the all-black edition and their flagship Kachihiro Special Edition. I've seen them briefly or in person. I have to say that the white is definitely still my favorite. The second difference, the port selection. You now get 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, 2 USB 3 ports, RJ45 Ethernet, HDMI and your 3.5mm combo jack. Compared to the previous generation, you lose the barrel plug for charging, you lose VGA and the SD card reader. Using Type-C for charging now is definitely way better, and losing the VGA port isn't too much of a hassle. But I wish they kept the SD card reader because I reckon that that's pretty useful. Now, the next difference is pretty small but it does make a huge impact. The size of the trackpad is now much larger and much more comparable to the competition out there. It does have a glass surface, uses Windows Precision, and even features dedicated left and right clicks. Now of course, it can still be larger, but compared to the previous generation, I'll definitely take this any time of the day. And the last main difference is the display. You now have the option to go with a touchscreen that also supports a pen using the Webcam AES 2.0 standard. Now, unlike before, there doesn't seem to be a 4K option for the panel. It might differ depending on where you are, but in general, there should be 2 main options, a 1080p non-touchscreen panel and a 1080p touchscreen panel. Since we are now on the topic of the display, well, let's talk more about that. As the SX14 name suggests, you are getting a 14-inch panel right here with a resolution of 1920 by 1080 with a standard 60Hz refresh rate. It's an IPS panel, covers 100% sRGB, and can get up to a respectable max brightness of about 400 nits. And of course, as mentioned, you can get it either with or without touch support. It's a fantastic display in all regards. I've used the laptop extensively for both work and entertainment and it performed admirably. 1080p is honestly still a really great resolution at 14 inches because you're still getting a really sharp image from a comfortable viewing distance and you don't really need to mess around with window scaling at all. The touchscreen is also really responsive and you can also tilt the display all the way flat, which would make it easier for you to take notes and such, especially with the pen. Vaio even includes a quick shortcut to flip the display around to make it easier to do so. It is actually kind of interesting that they thought of such things, and while it definitely isn't the best, I would say it's good enough for a workaround and it's actually kind of neat. Now above the display is where you get your webcam, and it's actually 1080p and looks really great and sounds rather decent as well. It also includes a privacy shutter and will fully support Windows Hello for authentication. If you aren't keen on facial recognition, you can also use your fingerprint for authentication, which can be found on the power button itself. Now, as for specs, you'll mainly be able to choose from either a Core i5-1155G7 or a Core i7-1195G7 with varying RAM and SSD sizes. We have the Core i7 model with us today, along with 16GB of RAM, the standard soldered LP DDR4X variant, as well as 1TB of SSD storage running at PCIe 4.0. Utilizing Vaio Control Center, you'll be able to choose between 3 different power settings: silence, standard, and performance. The settings will mainly affect the all-core boost, the amount of power the CPU will draw, and the fan speed. In Cinebench R23, you can expect really great performance of the Core i7-1195G7, basically performing on par with the competition out there. Additionally, thermals on any of the profiles are also well under control, generally staying in the mid 80 degrees Celsius. In terms of gaming, we ran our usual 2 games of CSGO and Genshin Impact at 1080p medium settings. Despite not featuring a discrete GPU, Vaio has managed to tune and allow the Iris Xe graphics in the Core i7 to flex as much as it can. CSGO was fully playable and enjoyable, achieving an average of 90 frames per second, and even a more demanding game like Genshin Impact was able to hit nearly 60 frames per second. Not bad at all. One thing I would like to note was also the fact that throughout any of the testing and even after a couple hours of gaming, the keyboard deck stayed relatively cool to the touch, which made it really comfortable to use. How Vaio managed to squeeze out that amount of performance with a fully enclosed bottom chassis while still managing thermals is actually pretty impressive. If you are someone who's constantly plugged in at your desk or you require everything that the Core i7 has to offer, performance mode is definitely the way to go, and it really does deliver. But if you're constantly on the move, well, actually using the silence profile would be my recommendation. You really don't lose much in performance for the average task, and you're going to get over 8 hours of battery life easily with that 53 Wh battery. Not to mention, it's also a really silent experience, which is really awesome. Overall, the Vaio SX14 has been really impressive, and I really do quite like it. The design, and especially this white color, the performance, the battery life, the lightweight at just under 1.1 kilograms, the overall feel, everything about it. It is just a solid laptop with all the features you've come to expect from a high-end premium ultrabook that's great for business users, professionals, casuals, and the like. It really does bring back the essence of Vaio. But just like the Vaio of yore, well, it does have a premium price as well. As configured and at the time of this review, our model comes in at just under 3,300 Singapore dollars, while the equivalent SKU in the US will cost just under 2,300 US dollars. Do note, however, that the touch pen is not included for the US, while it is included here in Singapore. As expected, it is way past the affordable territory, but given its design, features, and performance, it might actually be well worth it. But again, and of course, it's up to you to decide. Personally, I do really like it, and I do think that Vaio is back in the game. If you have any questions, let us know in the comment section down below. If you'd like to, do check out the affiliate links in the description as well. If you do, thanks for the support. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Till the next one. See ya!